January 19th, 2020. My name is Lori Kurtz, pronouns she, hers. Would you please introduce yourself, say your pronouns if you care to, and tell us all the things you do?
I'm Honeydew LaRue. I perform also as Lolita Von Honeydew. I am she and her, and I'm a burlesque performer, and I do performance art in part of a troupe collaboration, spoken word, poetry, singing sometimes. I'm married to a lovely musician, and I have a lovely dog.
Great. So we'll start with a big question. What is burlesque?
I guess burlesque, I can only answer that for what that is for me. And it's just an opportunity to express myself in a way that I can be telling a story. I have a background in writing and storytelling, and it just seems to me it's another way to convey a story. Be that transforming from like clothed to unclothed, I guess. There's a bit of tease that keeps people intrigued. I think that's what's fun about it. Sometimes your tits come out, sometimes they don't. That's tease too. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what it is for me anyway.
Yeah. And how do you describe the kind of burlesque that you do?
I guess it's very eclectic. I do a lot of different things. I like to try to always use music from the African diaspora, although lately I have not. But when I first began, that was kind of my intention to... I didn't want to do just like strut and strip and, St. James Infirmary and what everyone else was doing. So I guess mine's a bit eclectic. It kind of depends on what I'm feeling like. I've done some political stuff. I've done some strutting and stripping. Kind of all over the board. Depends on what my vibe is, I guess.
Yeah. So where were you born and where did you grow up?
I grew up in Connecticut, Plainville, Connecticut, just like it sounds. And then went to school, College of Boston, Northeastern University. I have a degree in criminal justice. And then moved out to California and then to Oregon.
And how long have you been in Oregon?
14 years, yeah.
Yeah. What brought you here?
I have a friend who I was living in the Bay before I moved to Portland, and I had a friend who also lived there, and she and her husband moved to Oregon, and they would consistently send us messages and emails. I'd say once a week. It's like, here's what you could buy in Portland. Here's what you can buy at the same price in Oakland. You should move to Portland. So after much haranguing, we came up and we were like, oh yeah, we should move to Portland. My husband just needed to be near an airport because he travels for his work, so it worked out great. And then to be able to come up here, I started my massage therapy practice, and it was much easier to do it here because you're licensed by the whole state, not by the county, how it is in the Bay and all that. So I started doing that then as well. Yeah.
So how do you get from a degree in criminal justice to massage therapy?
Well, after working in the field for a while, as my first intent when I went to school was I was going to be an attorney. And I worked for a bunch of attorneys, and I was like, nah, not really like that so much. Like, I realized what it took to be an attorney, and I didn't realize that path wasn't for me. And so when I moved to California, I've always been able to take away people's pain, but I would store it, and like I would get your headache or I'd get your stomach ache or whatever. And so I thought, well, I bet if there's a class, I mean, I can't be the only person that is true for. So I looked around and I found the Acupressure Institute in Berkeley and took some classes and learned how to like be able to do the work without taking it on. And I love it. Like, I love it. Yeah. It's the best work I've ever done, ever. Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
14 years.
14 years, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
But I guess, I didn't really answer you. So I was working for attorneys and I started working for personal injury attorneys. Well, I was working for, personal injury attorneys, and I was working on the defense side for an asbestos company, which was super gross. But then from there, I moved on to the plaintiff side and started doing personal injury, car accidents, stuff like this. I was doing paralegal work for the attorneys. And I just kept finding myself around people's pain one way or another. And finally, when I went to massage school, I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, that's why you keep bringing me in spaces where I'm like managing people's pain. Or like, here's this whole family. I was in a car accident. Like, I have to get all of your information. How can I help you? And all this. So, yeah. And I got to that side of it. I was like, that's what I'm supposed to do. So, the law got me there. So, you're on the path you're supposed to be on.
And so, what path led you to performance?
My whole family are musicians. My grandmother played the organ. My mother plays the bass. My sister plays the bass. My older sister sings. I've been performing or on stage since I was like 3 or 4. My mom would play gigs and, we were single mom and no babysitter. So she'd take me to the gig and I'd play the tambourine and then I'd go sleep next to the bass amp. She'd bring a sleeping bag. Like, it's just my whole kind of always been out there doing something. So when I started doing burlesque, so I was in the Bay and did spoken word and it's part of several artist collectives there. And in college, I was singing. In high school, I was singing. I was singing with my family. When I got to Portland, I didn't really have a creative outlet, so to speak. I was mostly focusing on doing the massage, and there's creativity in there, but it's separate. And so when a friend of mine I'd come home from traveling, and a friend was like, "Oh, come take this class with me." It's like a 2-hour workshop on a Saturday, and it was burlesque, and it was with ZVP. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I can try and do this. So yeah, and I started doing it, and I was like, oh, this is all the things. Like, I can be telling a story, I could be singing, I could be, creating costumes. Like, that's a whole other thing. And yeah, like, I felt like it's all the things I like to do in one thing. Yeah. Is that what you asked me? How did I get to that?
It is. Yeah.
Get it all rambling.
No, it's good. And so, sorry, you might have said this. In what year did you start
performing?
Doing burlesque?
2010.
Right.
Yeah. In August of 2010.
Yeah. And did you say Rose City School?
I did go there, yeah.
Yeah.
But I went to ZVP's class was just like a weekend thing. Zora von Pavning. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing.
Yes. Thank you.
The initials. I took a class with her. So yeah, she was my first teacher. And then on to Rose City School after that.
And so you moved to Portland. What's the burlesque community like here?
I mean, like every kind of community, it goes through its hills and valleys. I think it's all right. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
If I go to a show, like, the community's cool. I feel like when I first started, we used to, like, it seemed a little bit more family when I first started, and now I feel like it's a little more scattered. No, I'm not sure if that's good or bad, but it's certainly something I feel like I miss from the community. But the community keeps evolving and changing, so of course that's going to happen. Yeah.
Is that because the numbers of shows and troupes and such have grown, or is there more burlesque now?
No, I think it's the same amount of burlesque. There's a lot of burlesque. I think there's more opportunities now than there were when I first started performing. There's more people producing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's a fine community.
Sure. And speaking of producing, do you have producing experience?
Well, when I was living in the Bay, I was part of this collective called Her Story, and we used to produce events with spoken word artists, and while they were doing their thing, there would be a live artist painting or sculpting something, and then usually the show would begin with like DJs playing music, and we had spun off into the Soul Sisters kitchen thing and had people cooking, and it was, yeah, production. I put on a couple of shows. I had a friend that had an art gallery in Oakland, and I put on a few spoken word events there. Yeah. Some production. No burlesque production yet. I took a class for it, and like, I was like, I could probably do this, but I don't know. I'm almost 50. I'm kind of tired. I'm happy to like be able to stay up late and perform myself and put that whole thing together, but yeah.
What have you noticed about the audiences in Portland? Like, who's the audience who's typically drawn to burlesque?
I don't know, because I feel like every time I go walk out on stage, I'm like, oh, who are these people? Like, it's always different than what I expect every time. Sometimes I'm like, there's not gonna be anybody in here, and I walk out, and I'm like, okay, here's a full house. That's great. I'm always amazed, always.
Great.
Yeah, and like a lot of times it's new people, and I'm just like, wow, I feel like we're so out there, like everyone should already be coming, but no, there's always plenty more people to find out about it. Yeah.
And by out there, you mean like, what do you mean?
I mean, like more like I feel like more people know that there is an entertainment that you could be searching out for burlesque. Whereas like it would be a weekend, like, oh, I'm gonna go to see music, I'm gonna go see a play, I'm gonna go, but now people are like, oh, there's burlesque too. Like, I feel like our city is starting to be a little bit known for it. And frankly, I think you can see like burlesque almost every night. Like, there was a while that you could.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun. Audiences are fun. Sometimes it's like bachelorette parties. I always think that's a little bit weird, but whatever. Everybody tips. It's fine. Money's green. It's cool.
So do you do shows locally, but have you done, do you travel to perform at festivals?
I performed at the What the Funk Festival in Seattle. That's really the only festival I've done. But I've traveled out of town to perform up in Seattle, down in Southern Oregon, done a few shows in LA. Yeah, mostly West Coast things.
And what's the what the funk?
What the Funk Festival was a all person of color festival in Seattle. It was the first ever in the Pacific Northwest. It was 3 days, and it was all funk music. When I did the original What the Funk was just a weekender. It was this Friday and Saturday night, and Pucks had me down or up to do both nights of that. And when we were backstage, I think it was the second night, like we were all like just like didn't realize how much we needed to do that. Yeah, it was really awesome.
How do you mean needed to?
Well, like, okay, so we were talking earlier about like the community and the scene or whatever, and like Portland is white, like it's white here, and I grew up in a very white place as well, so like I'm comfortable in that. And it didn't, when I went and did this festival with all black folks, really, I was in the room with all my people, I was just like, damn, I didn't realize that was something I was missing. And then after I did it, I was like, kind of only want to do black people shows now. So there's a whole other I don't know, I'm doing a whole new thing with my work, or at least when I'm looking for doing other shows. It was nice that there was something that was created, because I felt like, I felt like my things that I'm doing in burlesque were not fitting into these things. Into, like, here's a festival, and, like, oh, you have to, like, I mean, and I'm sure everyone says, like, you don't have to, but you fucking did. You have to have the sparkliest thing, and it has to do this, and you have to have a glove peel, and you gotta do the stocking, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, and it just looks like the same thing over and over and over. And I just didn't see where what I was doing fit into any of that. And then I did What the Funk, and not only was it all black folks, I could also do whatever I wanted, which I'd like to do weird stuff. And no one was like, that's not burlesque. Not that anyone had ever said that's not burlesque, but I wasn't getting booked, so take it how you want to take it. So then when we did the festival this last year, it was just like twice as much. Cause then there's people, because when we did it last year, I felt like I'm pretty sure most of the people were from either Seattle or Portland. And this last year, it was people from all over the country. Yeah. And we all were just like, oh my God. So like, it was just like I don't know. It was great. It was just great and really needed. And Pucks kept saying, like, we'll be back in 2021. I was like, why can't we be back next week? Like, I mean, and I understand it took a lot for it to put it together, and, like, I'm not diminishing that in any way, but I was just like, don't lose the momentum. Do it again. So, yeah.
And that's, you're referring to Ms. Pucks, who's one of the co-producers. Yeah. So, are there opportunities for POC producers and shows here in Portland?
I mean, sure, if you want to do that. I think there's opportunity, but I think it's hard. I mean, there's been some folks that I've seen do it and do it really well, and other people who are just as talented, just not getting the same exposure or draw, and I don't know why.
So you're very busy. You have a full-time job. You do that supports this art that you do. You have a life. Just paint us a picture of a typical week for you when you're putting all that together.
Like if I have a show and my life.
Yeah.
Well, I run my massage therapy business, and I have my own shop, and that's 4 days a week, hands-on. I treat about 20 and 25 people a week. And then, the admin of that. And then I like either wake up super early and just glue things or choreograph and then do the show. Set alarms so I wake up and to go. That kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, putting acts together is just, I feel like, and like I've been doing it for 10 years, and I feel like every act is like new. Like it could be a song that I'm like, oh, I need to do something to that song, or I'll have had fabric, like I do something with that, and I'll have it for years, and then I'll be like, oh, that's the song that goes with that weird feathery thing. Like I don't. Yeah, for me, there's no rhyme or reason to it. I get inspired by different things, or someone be like, hey, do you want to do the show? Like, do you think you could put something together for this? And I'm like, either I can or I can't, or
yeah.
But usually I can, because I don't know. There's definitely something to like the challenge of seeing if you could make that come across. Like I think of things sometimes, and I'm like, oh, I can make that come off and do this thing. But then I realize like I don't have a skill to like build this thing, or like my mother. She's a seamstress and fashion designer from way back, and she sewed my whole life too. So I thought, surely I know how to sew. And I could string up the machine, I could thread the machine, like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I scenes are crazy. And I'll show stuff to my mom. She's like, let me see that scene. I'm like, don't look at my 10-foot rule. Nobody can see that. So yeah, it's just the challenge of like, how can you make it go? Like, I look at some of those, like, when I first started performing, and I really thought I could do all these things, and I had no freaking idea what I was doing. I'm standing in Michael's with, like, weird ribbon, and, like, this, and some glue, and, like, can I glue these things together? Can I sew it? And, like, I messed up a lot of needles, being like, I can sew this fur. Well, I guess I can't sew that. Well, no one can see that. I can't stitch the rest of it. Like, it's really, I say I'm a renegade put together. And then I have giant boobs, and then that's a whole other thing. Like, you think of how something's gonna look or how you get put together, and then I'm like, yeah, that won't stay. That doesn't stay, because these are intensely thick. And they need wrangling. They don't need just like a triangle. Like, what? It's gonna do nothing. And it's all gonna fall out. And not timed.
Oh, it's funny. So I've noticed there's a heavy metal and burlesque connection here in Portland.
Yeah, Son of the Beast Gals, Son of the Beast Burlesque. They have a metal-esque festival. I think they've been having it for like 2 or 3 years. And they invited me to be part of the, what is this new one? 80s hair metal show, which I'm actually going to be singing at. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fine.
So you're going to be singing heavy metal?
Yeah, I'm going to be singing Motley Crue. I sang in a band in high school, and so I'm almost 50, so we're out there. So I sang this song in high school, and I'm going to be singing at this hair metal show, because I lived hair metal. Oh my god. I was there.
Yeah. God. There's a lot of talk about cultural appropriation. What's the discussion about that in burlesque, and how do you deal with that?
I mean, I like to call it out if I see it. I don't feel like I do it, but I think I'm thoughtful about it because I'm a black woman. And, like, I don't know. I'm not appropriating things. I don't think. I think it's important to call it out when you see it. And I think that our community, at least for some time in my experience, was kind of, I would say, reaching out in kindness. Like, here, let me tell you about this, because if you take this somewhere, someone's probably not going to be as nice to you about how horribly racist this thing is. But, you know, I don't know. I don't want to say I stay out of it, but there's a lot of people who I think speak better to it than I. I just kind of get irritated and kind of brush it to the side and don't, like, I won't work with that person. Or I won't, like, I don't have time for teaching. Like, there's Google. You should know better. Frankly, that's what I think.
So you've already talked about diversity in burlesque, about Portland is a fairly white town, and the POC shows and their importance. I noticed you are part of a group, Brown Girl Super Magic.
Yeah.
How did that? What is that? How did that come about?
Lola and Sandria and Satira. They asked me to do, what was that first thing? I think that first thing we did was Beyonce tribute burlesque thing. And it's funny, like, 'cause we've gone so many times around on what the name of the group is, and I think if you ask all of us, it's going to be a different name, because my understanding was it was Brown Girl Magic Supergroup. But it might not be that. And yeah, it was super fun, and all those gals are like, so I think it's way better performers than I am, for sure. So to be invited to be a part of that was pretty fun. I don't know. I just think burlesque is hilarious. Like, me doing burlesque in my mind, like, separated from, like, doing it, I think is the most hilarious thing ever. So we go and do this Beyonce thing, and we were, like, dressed up with our shorts and flannel shirts, and it was just, I thought it was great, but it was hilarious to me. And then 3 of us got together and did a Christmas act, which also was hilarious. I don't know. I just like to have a good time. And it was great to work with those guys, and I'm sure we will do more things.
Yeah.
But she's busy. No, I don't know. I just wait for the call. Show up.
So people in burlesque say it empowers them. What's your take on that?
I mean, I guess it empowers people. I feel comfortable on stage. I enjoy performing, so I don't feel like it empowers me. It's just part of my deal. Like, I'm performing now, or whatever. I've had people come to me and they're just like, "Oh, you're so brave," and I could never do that, and I'm not jumping off of nothing, or, like, I'm not running a freaking marathon. Forget that shit. I guess this is my marathon, or my, that, but I mean, I guess it's empowering. I guess, sometimes I feel empowered, or because I can use that platform to, express myself in way, like, I have an act that speaks to the political climate that we're in right now. And I feel fortunate and that I can use burlesque to express that and teach people or share what my experience is as a regular Black lady living. So yeah, I guess, there's some empowerment there, certainly. And I feel like sometimes that's the only way I can express those things, is through my burlesque. Without feeling, well, one, like, usually when you're performing anything, really, the person who's watching isn't saying shit back to you. So I feel like that burlesque gives me an opportunity to speak those truths without commentary or question. And I guess now that is a very powerful thing. So yes, it's empowering. Burlesque is empowering. Yeah, it's cool. I have like, I was thinking about it. I have like 2.5 or 3. No, I guess I don't have half an act. 2 or 3 acts that like speak to climate change, and like I didn't really. It wasn't my intention when I did it, when I created it. But by the time I was finished and I performed it and watched the video, I was like, I guess I'm saying something here. And then people started asking me about that. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I guess I do have a feeling. I do, like, yeah, so I feel like it's a good way to just, like, express myself in those ways. I feel like burlesque, there's a lot of expectation from the audience for like something sexy or and like my take, I mean, some acts are that, and some acts are supposed to make you feel uncomfortable and think about some things. Yeah.
So what are the challenges facing burlesque today?
Well, I would say the challenge, some challenges would just be like there's people's perception of what it's supposed to be. And as a performer, you showing them that it's lots of different things. But, sometimes you don't get the audience to show that it's lots of different things. So then there's that. Yeah.
So then final question. What do you wish the general public would understand about burlesque?
Well, like, it's not... See, when you say general public, I think my mother. or someone who's like... It just took a long time for, like, she even just asked me the other day, she's like, well, you're not like doing this in a bar, right? You're doing it on a proper stage. And I'm like, yeah. Sometimes, well, I didn't say sometimes, there's no reason getting into that with her, but like, just that it's not like, I don't know, we're not like doing it on stage. Like, it's not like this. I think people think it's like strippers, and there's nothing wrong with strippers. Like, that's something that's great or whatever, but it's not what burlesque is. But most other people say you're stripping, and I am. I guess I'm a stripper. Take my clothes off, you see my tits. But like, to like my mom, I'm not a stripper. I'm not on pole, or no one's putting money. Like, I really hate that. And like, that's something else I feel like has been happening in burlesque recently. Or maybe, I'll just see what I'm saying. Throwing money at the stage, I don't like it. One, I don't want to slip on that shit. I mean, I want the money, but I don't want to fall. I think it's very distracting, and like, people come up and they're like, at least for my own performances, I usually have like choreography set. I'm not just like I'm being somewhere to be, like, I'm listening to the music, and like, while I am entertaining you and paying attention, I'm also trying not to fall, do all these other things. So that's why I kind of feel like burlesque is more theater-y, or more like, it's interactive, but it's not. What am I trying to say? It's interactive, but it's, I don't know. I want people to come with an open mind when you come to a show, and just let whatever happens. And don't come with an expectation of it's going to be like this, or someone's going to come up and do something to me, or I should throw money, or I should touch, or whatever, because don't fucking touch me, because that's not what this is about at all for me. And it's not for you to video it while I'm doing it, like that. Like, you're here to have this experience in the moment, and that's it. And take it for, like, go home and remember what that was like you used to in the olden days. Everything's doing it fucking fun. Yeah. Does that answer that? What was the question?
Yeah, that was perfect.
I feel like I'm rambly.
No, it's good. So, what's your next immediate sort of goal or self-challenge with burlesque?
I think I'm gonna try to submit to a few more festivals. For a while I was like, I want to submit to all these things, and I'd submitted to a couple and gotten turned down, and then I was like, well, maybe I'm just not a festival person. And then I did What the Funk, and I was like, well, maybe I'm like a specific kind of festival person. So I'm trying to be a little bit more discerning and do the research of like, what is this festival? What, what's the fun one, or who will I see, or whatever. But again, I run a business, so it's hard to going and being in a festival is gonna cost me money more than I'm gonna make anything. So just trying to think about it in that way, that for me, if I'm going to do this, it's like, not like it's vacation, but it's like, this is my fun thing to go do. Not, I'm gonna make a bunch of money and then have a sash and a crown. Like, I can't do all that. But I like to go and see. Like, maybe do the opening night or whatever. But like, I like competition stuff. I'm not really interested in that. But I'm definitely more interested in doing some of that stuff and traveling a little bit more. And not necessarily in festivals, just like performing in different cities and seeing what burlesque is in other places and stuff like that. And having met so many folks at What the Funk, I feel like it's much more accessible. And I felt like earlier in my time performing, it wasn't accessible to me. And I just didn't know how to have access to it. I think it was maybe always there, but I was like, that's that thing over there that burlesque people do. And I'm not really a burlesque person, which I totally am now, but I didn't think I was. Yeah, it's nice that that there's all these different genres of nerd and all sorts of things. It just makes it a little more fun, I think, and you get to be a little more expressive in your being. You're trying to be what you're trying to do, I guess. Yeah.
Great. So yeah, I guess that's my goal.
Do some more.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.